Hello, everyone. I hope you enjoyed my lecture last week. This week, the format of the lecture is going to be the same. So I will record 4 or 5 different short clips for you to follow, because I suppose it might be easier for you and for me to do it point by point, and it will probably be quite easy to follow as well. So the topic that I will be talking about today is gender media frames. And in particular, I will be looking at the social acceptability of different genders. Now, let me share the screen with you. Right, so the topic is gender media frames, and with particular interest in the social acceptability. First, we need to understand what media frames are. And I guess you can probably guess that the media frames actually mean how the media frames the message that they communicate with their audience. Now, I want to share with you two main characteristics of how the media can frame their message. So media frames can function as much more than presenter of the story. Rather, they also suggest the issues and controversies surrounding the story. The second characteristic is media frames organize the communication, or as two researchers, Gamson and Modigliani, call it, the storyline, while providing meaning about events associated with the communication. So, in other words, the media can actually influence how the readers or how the audience will understand the message that they want to communicate. If I want to put this into context, let's take a look at how media in Thailand is reporting on the same thing. I wouldn't be talking about the COVID-19 situation because I guess as it is a global pandemic, all the media are reporting the news in pretty much the same way. If you look back probably a few months ago when there was a lot of political debates, okay, about the situation in Thailand, uh, went to really different channels who stand for different sides. I can probably name it. So if you look at the way Nation Channel and the way Voice TV report the same piece of news, you would see that they use different approach in reporting the news. They have different opinions and they add the opinions into what they want to report. Okay, it also reflects in the way they pick the news to report, because one is in favor of the government, one is against it. So, that's probably give you some sense of what it is like, okay, of how the media can frame how the people understand the fact that it's happening, okay, and the fact would be different when it is in the hand of different media. So let's have a look at a more global example, right? So more global and international example. In 2005, which I guess you would probably be very young, okay, there was a devastating hurricane called Katrina in New Orleans, Louisiana, USA. It hit the place and it hit a lot of people, places, a lot of supermarket, department store. And after the hurricane happened, there were some survivors. And these survivors, they entered the store, which were hit by the storm, to take goods to eat. And some of and the same actions, okay, some of them were described as looting food, while the others were described as fighting food. So for those of you who do not know what looting means stealing. So it has a negative connotation toward going in and get the food, right? Whereas fighting food, it has the connotation that, well, you are hungry, so you need to find the food to eat. And as you might expect, if you look at the picture that I am showing on the screen right now, looting on the left, okay, is used with a young black man. So I can read the headline for you here. So a young man walks chest deep in floodwater after looting a grocery store. Right. So the U.S. media described this young man as he went into the store and he stole something from the store. And as you might imagine, as you may expect it, this is a young black man. So from a racial perspective, that's not something surprising. Whereas when we look at what's happening on the right picture, this picture was described as two residents made chest deep after finding bread and soda in a grocery store. And if you look at the people in the picture, the first one, the man at the back, clearly he was a white man, whereas the woman at the front, well, she may not be classified as white in terms of white, but she's more like a Hispanic uh, type of person, I suppose. So you can see how the media play with the words in describing the same action after the same incident. And this can communicate different feelings to people reading the news. So if I were to read the news, I would probably understand that, well, the young black man on the left went into the store and stole the food. Whereas these two Americans, they went into the store because they were hungry and they were desperate because of the hurricane and they had to find the food. Right. So I hope that give you a pretty solid foundation of what media frames actually are. So in the next clip, okay, I will be talking more about the representation of gender and how gender is played out differently in the media. Right. Bye.